Okay, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. Merry and blessed Christmas to all and happy holidays to all. Here with us today, we have Commissioner Michael Harrison, Mayor Brandon Scott, our U.S. Attorney Eric Barron, and we also have ASAC Joe Persays from ATF. We got Commander Don Snyder from the Capital Area Fugitive Region Task Force, and Deputy Special Agent in Charge Freddie Taylor from Homeland Security. And then we have SAC from the FBI, Special Agent in Charge Thomas Sobozinski. And then we have ASAC, Raisha Hawley, also from the FBI. From Baltimore County Police, we have Colonel Joe Conger, Operations Bureau Chief, and Baltimore County Police Officer Ron Johnson. And I'd like to start off saying to God be the glory. This nation's law enforcement officers, it's been a tough year for this nation's law enforcement. To date, we've had 224 officers killed in the line of duty. So please keep their families in your thoughts and prayers. Operation Bless Baltimore was a large-scale interagency public safety initiative led by the Marshals Service, working with Baltimore City Police, our municipal and federal partners. It was initiated on September 12th and ended on December 16th. We collected and distributed over 10,000 pounds of food, $8,000 worth of clothing, and $7,000 worth of toys to assist needy families this Christmas and holiday season. My granddad was a Methodist minister. He always said the best gift you can give someone is your presence, your time, and your love. And as you all know, there are many people who are out there hurting, and we could all help them by what we do. And then we could all say also, there by the grace of God could go I. We all need each other, and we have to carry each other's burdens at times. In this way, you will fulfill the word of the Lord as the Bible verse, Galatians 6:12. Operation Ignite the Light, it's an operational component of Operation Bless Baltimore. And it reminded me in the early 90s, I was with the state police, and we did a little operation in Baltimore City. But George Herbert Walker Bush was the president in those days, and there was an initiative, a very successful interagency initiative called Weed and Seed, whereby the most violent criminals were arrested by task force operations in major crime-infested cities. The federal money was then invested in these cities to seed the cities with community-oriented programs to reduce crime. And I thought the operation we had, Ignite the Light, was actually in the same posture as what I just stated. Operation Ignite the Light commenced on December 5th, and it ended December 16th. This violent crime war initiative was done in concert with Baltimore City Police, our federal and state partners, and resulted in 68 violent fugitive arrests, thereby making Baltimore a safer place to live and work. We'll have a question and answer period by any one of us up here after the speakers finish. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the commish, Michael Harrison. Michael?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by thanking U.S. Marshal Hughes for inviting me to be here today, and each and every one of our partners standing here with us. Since my first months in Baltimore, I knew that our department had to do more to strengthen our coordination and collaboration with all of our law enforcement partners. BPD is proud to be a partner in Operation Bless Baltimore in serving and supporting our neighborhoods with this community policing-led initiative. Last year, our members of our department completed the training on the city's very first ever community policing plan. Additionally, we've piloted our neighborhood policing plans, which co-produce public safety strategies that address quality of life concerns and develop safe community spaces for cleaning, greening, and lighting for safe passage. Initiatives such as this allow us to not only give back to our communities, but to build relationships, increase interagency coordination, and engage with our residents. These partnerships are critical to building a safer city and transforming our department into one that our community wants, needs, and most importantly, deserves. So I want to thank Mayor Scott for his leadership and for charging our department to do more in our communities, as well as all of our federal partners here and those who participated in this operation in serving our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me here. Let me first thank Marshall and the entire team here for always being a true partner to Baltimore City. I want to thank our U.S. Attorney, Eric Barron, our Chief Deputy Marshal, Matthew Silverman, Commissioner Harrison, as we highlight the accomplishments of Operation Bless Baltimore, but also this strong partnership. Our law enforcement personnel support our communities 24/7 and 365 days a year by helping make our city, Baltimore, a safer place for all. And Operation Bless is just another way that these agencies, local, state, and federal partners, support our residents and create positive change throughout the Baltimore region. Through outreach and charity, this interagency cooperation is strengthening the relationship between law enforcement and our communities. And better relationships between law enforcement and community translate to a safer community. When residents understand that law enforcement is here to help, they are more likely to report crimes and provide useful information to help us get violent criminals off the street, much like those who were removed through Operation Ignite the Light. We will continue to work with our partners here to make sure that anyone who's carrying out violent crimes in Baltimore, who is trafficking weapons into Baltimore, that we will seek them out and remove them from our streets to make our city a safer place. So again, I want to thank the U.S. Marshals and everyone involved in Operation Bless Baltimore for their partnership. Wish everyone a happy holiday season, and I'll turn it over to our U.S. Attorney, Eric Byrne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Harrison, Marshal Hughes. I'm happy to be here today to restate the United States Attorney's Office commitment to our law enforcement and community partners. The press conference here today not only announces our success in removing violent offenders from the street through the warrant sweep, but also announces the results of community outreach efforts to help address food insecurity, provide clothing, and some gifts to those in our community who are in need. The United States Marshals Service stepped up when I asked for help, and these results enhance our previous violence reduction efforts that resulted in one of the lowest murder rates in Baltimore in September since 2015. I know we have a long way to go. The murder rate in Baltimore is absolutely unacceptable. But I believe these types of complementary efforts, community outreach, and enforcement are the only way we are going to make a difference. It may take time, but we are committed, as are all of our law enforcement partners, to trying new and innovative strategies to reduce violence in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Joe, I'm going to call you to the podium. This is Joe from ATF.
Thank you. I am Acting Assistant Special Agent in charge of ATF Baltimore, Joe Persales. I am pleased to be here to join our partners in announcing not only the success of an enforcement operation, but also the efforts made by law enforcement to give back to the community. ATF's primary mission is always to identify and investigate individuals responsible for violent crime. For Baltimore to thrive, citizens need to feel safe, and taking violent offenders off the street is the best way we can ensure that happens. We want to leave the neighborhoods better than we found them by removing these threats, maintaining trust within the community, and giving back whenever we can. On behalf of all the men and women of ATF's Baltimore Field Division, we hope that Operation Bless Baltimore donations of food, clothing, and toys make a difference in the lives of Baltimore families this holiday season and in months following. As we go into the new year, our commitment to Baltimore renews as well. ATF will continue to focus our resources and efforts in bringing the worst of the worst to justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chief Matt Silverman's going to come up now. He's going to talk to you about some of the community-oriented programs that we're doing in the district through the churches, Charm City Church, Badges for Baseball, with the Ripken Foundation, and a few other programs. Matt?
Thank you so much, Marshall, and thank you everybody for being here. What an amazing operation Bless Baltimore was. The partnership that we had is second to none in this city and in the state. We appreciate and look forward to the continued operations that we're going to keep doing and showing the citizens of the state and Baltimore that we're committed to community outreach and community policing. We have partnered with the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, Badges for Baseball program, where we mentor over 500 kids that come in every single year from all over the world. Teach them the fundamentals, not just of baseball, but of teamwork and what law enforcement does on a daily basis. We've partnered up with other local law enforcement, with churches, and other religious entities to show that we are here not just to arrest people and get the bad people off the street, but to be part of the community that we represent. We are always available, and we're going to keep doing what the President has initiated with his executive order, what the Attorney General has passed down to us, and what the Director of the Marshals Service has given us directive on, is to continue community outreach and community policing and keep standing with the great citizens of this state and this country to make sure that we reduce violent crime and get community engagement up in every possible way that we can. I am 100% indebted to everybody in this room, all of our law enforcement partners, our mayor, our commissioners, and the citizens that we represent, and we will not stop. This is not the end. This is the beginning, and we look forward to a partnership long into the next multiple years. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And Marshall Hughes, just to close this out.
Just following up on what the chief said, when we work together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. We're stronger together than apart. And some people try to separate us on department or race or gender or position. We can't let that happen because we're all more alike than we're different in that we need fellowship, a sense of purpose and feeling of belonging in our lives, a sense of security, love, affection. And with that, I want to thank, as a federal guy, I want to thank Bureau, FBI, ATF, DEA, Homeland Security, and all the federal agencies, as well as state police and all the municipal agencies, and Baltimore County, Baltimore City. You all stepped up more than anybody on the municipal side, so thank you for being there, and thank you for being part of this team, because together there's nothing that we can't accomplish. With that, let me turn it over for questions that you all may have for any of us here. Questions?
Hello. Okay, so what is it about the partnership of reaching out into the community, giving the people in the community what they need that motivates them to speak up and let you guys know about the other issues of crime in the city?
Thank you, Averjoy, for that question. I think it's important to note that people talk to people who they feel comfortable with, who they feel like actually care about them and don't just see them as someone they can pull information out of. And when you think about specifically this time of year, I'll be spending my evening going around providing gifts to families in need. Everyone wants to feel loved all the time, but especially during the holidays. And when you are in a community like Baltimore, where we've had in the past, we've had the opposite when it comes to law enforcement, and now folks see this kind of coordinated effort, it just lets those people know that it is a new day, that they aren't just seen as people that are living in these challenged neighborhoods, that they are seen as human, and that they have true partners in working to solve the issues in their neighborhoods.
What are some of the crimes that these people were taken off the streets for, or what they were wanted for?
This is Don Snyder. Don is our Capillary Regional Fugitive Task Force Commander. He runs operations in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. His team was part of this.
So the mission of the Capillary Regional Fugitive Task Force is to partner with our state and local federal agencies to investigate and arrest the most violent fugitives, most dangerous fugitives in the community. And during this operation, there was 67 arrests of persons wanted for murder, attempted murder, sex offenses, rape, firearms violations, carjacking, assaults, and other charges as well. But those were the primary charges.
Primary charge, so violent offenders is what you would say?
Yes, ma'am.
67 or 68?
67.
67, because the poster says 68.
No, sorry, 68. It's 68. Yes, correct.
68.
68.
Okay, thank you, sir. So kind of help us understand how this works. You guys go into the community, you build that trust. How are the people then reaching back out to you guys to say, hey, this is what I see, this is what I hear?
It's done through law enforcement investigations, building relationships and partnerships in the community, and through our investigations we develop sources of information, and we
So
can't really
there's
get
a
into it much
tip
more
line,
than
or
that.
people call it a
Tip
number?
lines, people call investigators, and
Don, I think the commission's going to
Yes,
jump
sir.
in there, too.
So there's something I tell every group of recruits that come through our academy, and when the mayor and I graduate them, I always tell them, build relationships that were never built, improve on good relationships, and then repair broken relationships. This community policing initiative is one that would likely build a relationship that probably had never been built. Because most people see law enforcement as the enforcement arm, that when we come in, we take from the community. This is us giving back to the community. Then it's repairing relationships that were broken. When they saw us or people see us in the enforcement mode, it's usually some negative outcome for a person or for a family. But giving back food, clothes, toys, people get to see us in a non-enforcement mode. We're actually giving. And so we're building a relationship likely not built, or repairing a broken relationship, but it embodies trust building. And then people will then say, okay, I can call the tip line. Maybe I feel comfortable calling the tip line. Or I made a connection with a detective. I made a detective with a federal agent. And maybe, just maybe, when at one time information would not flow, that it would begin to flow to us or either from us. And that's how we become better partners, and that's how our coordination becomes more effective.
So this was in a matter of 2 weeks, right? So is this a number that is extraordinary for these types of operations? Is it around average?
The marshal would probably say all initiatives are different. And when at one time many years ago, we would probably have one of these a year. There have been 4 or 5 of these this year alone. And each one would net a different number of arrests, different number of violent offenders. This one, for a 2-week period, to have 68 arrests, I would say was more successful than we even would anticipate. Because sometimes we run them for 30 days and maybe not pick up that many people for violent offenses. But these are very successful, and you can't have that level of success without partnership and collaboration.
Mr. Commissioner, I wonder if you believe this is something that could help us go even farther or higher in the number of deaths that we've had so far this year, because at this point, we're just 4 homicides away from tying last year's number.
Well, every positive initiative is a step toward being better. Every positive initiative is a step toward helping someone who wants to make a decision to pull that trigger to make the decision not to pull that trigger because they see something different in us. Maybe we made a connection. But everything we do helps us to be better and to show other people, number one, that we care, and number two, that we can do something about it. And we are trying to affect the decisions that other people are making about violent crime. And while your local and municipal police have a community that we respond to and that we're accountable to, now you see the federal partners being accountable to local communities. I think that is a big step and a big statement.
Is there any particular?
Hey, but Joey, I'm going to just jump in here real quickly. I think that what you heard from the U.S. Attorney and you hear from everyone else here is that this is a starting point, right? You're talking about deep collaboration where we can build on this work that everyone's making so that instead of having a 1% decrease in homicides and a 4% decrease in non-fatal shootings where we stand right now, we're talking about 8, 9, 10, 15%. But we're only going to do that working together in collaboration and doing all the other things that we have to do to fix what's happening and causing violence in Baltimore City. Thank you.
I don't know if this is a question for the U.S. Attorney, but will these cases be prosecuted on the local level or in federal court?
So we'll take a look at, who we've rounded up, and we'll assess each individual case, and if it meets federal criteria, then we will take it.
I would like to add that for every one of these violent criminals we take off the street, you're probably keeping 10 or 20 future crimes from occurring, because these violent repeat offenders just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So that's going to stop a lot of future crimes. And as far as the community policing effort that we do with our municipal partners, you have to give these people hope, and you have to keep hope alive. And some of them, are really down and out, and you just need to kind of lift their spirits and lift them up to keep them going. And the city police and the county police and FBI and the federal agencies, they work with us on the Badges for Baseball program, where we take inner city kids that could get down the wrong path, and we bring them up to Ripken Stadium in Aberdeen for a week, and it's like cops with a kid. You have FBI or Baltimore County or Baltimore City or the Marshals staying with these kids for a whole week. It's a mentoring program, and then in the afternoon they're on the field with them playing baseball or softball with the girls or the ladies. And like I say, we just need to kind of lift these people up and keep hope alive, but you can't have the kids emulating the bad guy out on the corner with a big roll of cash, and just try to kind of give back the best we can. But any more questions?
Were all the arrests in Baltimore City, or were some in Baltimore County?
The primary focus area was Baltimore City.
So only arrests in Baltimore City?
There might have been a couple in the county, but I'm not positive. The focus area was Baltimore City.
Yeah, why now, with all the crime that's been happening, why now the community policing initiative?
Thank you so much. So community policing has been around for a long time, and we've always done community policing. Local and state agencies have done a lot more community policing than on the federal side for the most part. I come from a county police agency, and I was a certified community policing officer. When I stepped into the role with the Marshals Service and talking with Marshal Hughes, it's a passion of mine, getting out there and showing the community that we're part of the community. I think the more that we can get the Marshals Service out there in front of the community, more we can get all of our federal partners in front of the community, shows that we're out there also. We tend to hide in the backgrounds of stuff and not take credit for any of the good work that we do. We need to step out there now. We need to show the community that we're here to build those bonds and to assist the state and locals with everything that we possibly can to make sure that crime continues a downward trend. And we're out there as much as we possibly can doing the good work.
Okay, so cold weather, I'm sorry, one last question. The cold weather is coming in, Mr. Mayor. Is there anything that you could talk about with regards to the steps that are being taken, preventative measures, especially for homeless people?
Yeah, we sent out the notice yesterday. Our shelters are open. We have the hotline that we can make sure that we get to you, Avajoy. We have our outreach teams who have been out there. We actually, yesterday, we had a homeless person's vigil that we had down in the harbor. We talked with a lot of the service providers and the impacted community there. We're going to be out there letting folks know. We want them to come in. As you know, for the last few years, not only have we had our traditional shelters, but putting people in hotels so that we can provide a better, decent place. So all of our things are open. The folks will be out there between MOHS and Downtown Partnership. Everyone's there. We're spreading the message through our community advocates with the numbers and hotlines so that we can get people inside.
And so it's for the wider community, not just the homeless community?
Well, listen, we know this is the holiday, right? But if you have to be outside, dress appropriately, make sure that you're checking everything that you need on your vehicles, monitor the weather, because when you have the amount of rain that we're having now and the temperatures that are expected to drop, we know that we could see ice spots and those things. We're going to be consistently putting out information as the weather changes and as the forecast may change. It could change quickly. We see that all the time. This is Maryland. We could be 60 degrees one day, snow in the next, right? That's just how it is here. But make sure that they monitor the city's social media, my social media, Department of Transportation, our Emergency Management Office, and obviously the good folks at WJZ who are always on top of it as well.
And real quickly, Mr. Mayor, how important is it we check on the elderly?
It's very important, especially now. If your elderly neighbors, if you know that your elderly neighbors are going to be alone, especially on the holidays, you should be checking on them anyway. And especially with it being the severe cold that's coming, make sure that they're there. Take them a plate, invite them over to your house so they can enjoy a dinner with your family, because that's the decent thing to do. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you all for being here today, and thank you very much for your questions, and thank you for your time, and God's blessings, and Merry and blessed Christmas and happy holidays to all. Be safe out there.